Tua plays every game, the Dolphins will win the AFC East. Something that we haven't talked about a lot here. Is that an overreaction? The only reason why I say that is because here, all we've talked about is Aaron Rodgers and the Jets Super Bowl contender. So, Tim, if Tua stays healthy, it's Miami, a Super Bowl contender. What do you think?
Yeah, I would agree with Dan on that. I think they would be. Look, you just look at the additions on defense, including defensive coordinator. You look at the talent, as Dan mentioned, that they have at the skill positions around Tua. How Tua played last year. You think about it. A year ago, we were talking about, can he throw it far enough down the field to use these wide receivers? He proved that he can play at a high level.
So let me be the first person, well, probably not the first person, but let me be a person who stands behind his word. I think today, at the start of minicamp, let's remove the if label from Tua. Let's no longer say if healthy. Let's put everything on the table. Let's lay all the cards out in front of us just where they are. Let Tua be just like any other athlete. We saw the Miami Heat beat the Boston Celtics, and all we heard was if Jason Tatum didn't get hurt in Game 7, the Boston Celtics could have beat the Miami Heat. If. I, for one, am ready now to let the kid, let the chips fall wherever they may. You are the starting quarterback of an NFL team. Don't worry about the jiu-jitsu stuff anymore. Let's not worry about what happened last year. You are going to be solely graded, Tua, on your performance starting today through next, hopefully, February. That's it. Tua showed that he could be, quote, an MVP caliber quarterback. So if he can be an MVP caliber quarterback, we don't say, if he was MVP. We just say he was doing well until he got hurt. No more assumptions. Let's go with Tua is the quarterback of the Miami Dolphins. And until something happens, just grade him every single day, every single game as the quarterback that he is. I bet you're surprised as hell that coming from me, right? You think I've been dogging a kid for the last 5 or 6 months. Now I've just been calling it as I see it. But now we're entering into a new season. And just like when I began my videos last season, I said, give the kid a chance. I say kid because he's 24, 25 years old. I don't mean any disrespect. He's still a kid as far as I'm concerned. Let's give him his full due respect that he's going to be the quarterback that everybody believes he can be, including me. I'm no longer going to put any labels on if healthy. This is it. Minicamp opens today. It's time for Tua to be that dude. Not partly, not for 14, 12, 10, 11 games, to be that dude for the whole season. Is that fair? If I stop saying if healthy, do you guys understand he's going to be judged on his performance the entire season? If he does great in game 1, I'm going to applaud him. I'm going to talk him up. If he does great in game 2, I'm going to applaud him. I'm going to talk him up. If he shits the bed in game 3 or game 4, I'm going to let you know about it. So that's the deal. If you want me to come clean and say, just judge him right now. I don't care about stats from last year. I hate going onto Twitter and see people posting all these doggone pictures from what happened in videos from last year and these tweets talking about the left arm of God. This kind of insanity. You're an athlete. You're a QB. You're going to be judged on your performance every single week, good and bad. So if we're going to be fair, I'm going to be fair. If he does great, I'll be the first person to salute him, and I'll be in his corner 100%. If he craps out, I'm going to let you know that too. That's my deal with you moving forward. I am going to call it as it is. Not going to be a fanboy. Comes out and throws for 300 yards and 4 touchdowns. I don't care. Did the Dolphins win? That's what I care about. Comes out the next week, throws for 100 yards and 1 touchdown and 3 interceptions, but the Dolphins win. That's what I care about. I want to see the team win. So unless you have a problem with that, which you shouldn't, Let's continue with the show as I react to what the guys on Get Up said this morning about Tua Tagovailoa and the Miami Dolphins' chances of being a Super Bowl contender. A Super Bowl contender. Let's continue.
Tua plays every game. The Dolphins will win the AFC East. Something that we haven't talked about a lot here. Is that an overreaction?
No, but I mean, if Tua plays every game is the big thing, right? Like, if he does, I think this offense can function at a very, very high level.
That's not even an if. You notice he goes, if he plays, this offense can perform at a very, very high level. We've already seen that. So there's no if there. He's on the field, the offense performs.
And I think that, we saw that last year. The issue has been his ability to stay on the field. If he can do it with the receivers he has around him, with the running back group he has around him, with the coaching staff he has around him, I think they're a serious threat to the Bills.
If you notice in these clips, and I want to be quiet while he was saying it, you're going to see a couple more. He's throwing to these receivers, Waddle and Tyreek, and they're wide the F open. Wide open. Is that a product of Tua throwing them open, or is that a product of these guys just being so hellaciously fast that they can blow by people? In any event, if the defenses that he's going to face this year haven't adjusted for that, he could put up those same kinds of numbers week after week.
To the Jets, to the Patriots in that AFC East.
The only reason why I say that is because here, all we've talked about is Aaron Rodgers and the Jets Super Bowl contender. So, Tim,
That's because on that show, Get Up, it's hosted by Mike Greenberg, who's a dyed-in-green, loyal New York Jets fan. That's why you keep hearing it.
Tua stays healthy, it's Miami, a Super Bowl contender. What do you think?
Yeah, I would agree with Dan on that. I think they would be. Look, you just look at the additions on defense, including defensive coordinator. You look at the talent, as Dan mentioned, that they have at the skill positions around Tua. How Tua played last year. You think about it. A year ago, we were talking about, can he throw it far enough down the field to use these wide receivers? He proved that he can play at a high level. The challenge ends up being the injury concern here is completely different than it is with any other player.
Now, hold on. I disagree. Everybody keeps saying that the injury focus is on Tua. That given if Tua is healthy, everything else goes fine. That's not true. Tyreek and Jalen Waddle have to stay healthy as well. So there's three people on this offense that are critical that if any one of those three guys goes down, could be a spoke missing off the four wheels of the Miami Dolphins wagon. Don't forget that. All of them have to stay healthy.
Less than a year ago, within the last 6 months, we're talking about, look, does he need to step away from the sport? But I just think the antennas are going to be up every time he gets hit, every time he falls back. It's just the nature of the world we live in now with this sport and with this position. And I think that is the thing that is probably the biggest concern, not, hey, how are they going to utilize these offensive weapons? What's this offense going to look like under Mike McDaniel in year two? Like, I just think that his health, there's going to be a microscope on it in terms of every hit he takes.
Every single hit he takes, every announcer at every single game is going to focus on Tua getting up, how he looks, how he bounces back, his next throw. Was his throw off by 2 yards? Was it too far, too short? Once he gets hit, forget the jiu-jitsu. That's out the window. He's on the field. Once he gets hit, everybody in the stands, everybody on television, and the announcers in the booth are going to focus on, one, did he get up? And number two, his performance after he got hit. Count on that.
Bill, I got to come to you because that division is just loaded with quarterbacks. I mean, you got Josh Allen. Now Aaron Rodgers is there. Are we sleeping on Tua and the Dolphins?
I think so. I mean, this was a quarterback who was...
Who is sleeping on Tua and the Dolphins? Some journo in New York? What are you, absurd? That is the most absurd statement I've heard in quite some time, that they're worried about people sleeping on the Miami Dolphins.
Number one in the NFL in QBR last year. They went 8-3 when Tua played and was able to finish the game without getting injured. They were a legitimate Super Bowl contender last year when Tua was healthy and playing at a high level. Now you bring in all the...
Look at that difference, that separation, that Tua. Yeah, the guy fell, but he fell because he couldn't keep up with Tyreek right there. Those are the things I think defenses are going to adjust to so that the Dolphins don't have those breakaway scoring opportunities.
Defensive additions to this roster. They traded for Bradley Chubb last year. He gets a full offseason. They trade for Jalen Ramsey.
Look there. Look at that separation. Yeah, that ball's underthrown, but he's already a few yards behind the guy. Something happened early in the year versus at the end of the year in terms of those opportunities weren't there. So hopefully Mike McDaniel and the camera onto his helmet are going to help him adjust because those weren't there.
This offseason, they might have the best cornerback room in all of football, and then you've got...
Look at that one. Wide open separation coming across, and then once Jalen Waddle's in full speed coming across, this guy here has already taken a bad angle. He's toast.
I'll go out and get Vic Fangio, the most influential defensive coordinator in football. A guy who, last time he was a DC in the NFL, carried Mitch Trubisky and Chase Daniel to a division title and the postseason. So you got to figure, if they get Tua playing at a high level for most of the season, if not all the season, that's going to be a legitimately impressive team in the AFC East.
Certainly got to tighten up that defense. I think they were 24th in scoring defense, 27th in pass.
Is anybody worried about the defense? Seriously. Well, I don't, that's a useless stat right there. There's nobody I know worried about Vic Fangio's defense with the weapons they've brought in.
What do you?
That's why, I mean, Fangio, like, there were a lot of teams trying to get him this offseason, and the Dolphins outbid them all. Like, he's going to make a lot more money than defensive coordinators usually make. So that tells you what kind of priority it is and tells you what kind of effect they think he can have on that defense.
So is that a deal? I'll call it as I see it. Tua does well. Fantastic. Tua does bad, I'm going to let you know. Let's just say the Miami Dolphins are Super Bowl contenders for the 2023 season. Not going to worry about the unforeseen. All we can look at is what's right in front of us. Tua is healthy. He's going to be playing. He's a starting quarterback. Nobody else is coming in. All the speculation is done. It's game time. Essentially, mini camp opens today. We'll talk about that tomorrow. Then you got training camp. Then you got the games. It's all on Tua. That's all you can say.
Is anybody catching on to this Barry guy?